Yeah, it felt literally unreal. When I looked at my scores, I was like, is this really mine? Like, oh my God. And I was literally just running around my house.
Let's welcome our next guest who just recently passed the CPA exam.
So my name is Heather Rullo. I am from East Hanover, New Jersey, but I went to school at Hofstra University. So when I went there, I moved to Long Island. Then now I'm working at Grant Thornton as a senior tax associate. I have been there for 4 years now. I've worked there my entire career.
How did you study for the CPA exam in general?
I had a huge method to my madness. So I actually used Becker and Ninja. So for the first year, I only used Becker and I didn't pass anything. And then I started using Ninja and I would go between the two of them. So I used a tracker, and so every single night I would make sure, every single day I would make sure I at least answered 60 multiple choice correctly.
How did you study for multiple choice questions?
So I went through Becker first. So I started at chapter 1 and then went all the way to whatever the end chapter is for each of the exams. And then I would only do that one time, go through the chapters like that. And then I would do 30 multiple choice of like the practice exams on Becker and then go to Ninja and literally just go back and forth like 1,000 times and just keep doing 30 multiple choice practice exam on Becker, 30 multiple choice on Ninja. And like I said, I had the tracker, so I would keep like track of my scores, so it would keep me motivated, I guess, to see that I'm like getting better each time. So that's how I did it. And I would write down, if I got something wrong, I would write it down always. I use Excel for like the math problems, so I would literally type them all up and read through each question. Like if I got it wrong, I'd read why my answer was incorrect, and I would read why the answer was correct, and if I didn't understand it, I would read it until I was like, okay, that makes sense.
How do you study for simulation questions?
So simulation questions, when I would do the 30 multiple choice on Becker, I would also include one simulation in it. So it would pick from whatever chapter it was. I wouldn't go in order or anything. And then if I would try to do it myself, and if I couldn't do it, they have the skills practice videos which were actually like insanely helpful. Like they literally spell it out for you exactly to make you understand it and help you and how to do the problem. So that was amazing, like that they had that. So yeah, so I basically would just do that one every single time I would go through my multiple choice. Like I use the simulations for Ninja only for audit because I feel like I don't know why it was different. I just felt like the simulations on audit were more like the exam than other things. So other than that, though, I really wouldn't use the simulations for Ninja. But everything else on Ninja I loved. Like I listened to Jeff's, he had the audio recordings. I would listen to that like walking to work, on the train, walking my dogs. I would listen to that constantly. He does it in more of like it's not boring. Like it keeps you wanting to listen to it, and it keeps it interesting. So yeah, I listened to it, and actually, because you listen to it on repeat basically, like all the chapters, you just repeat them, and you definitely like think about it on the exam. So that definitely helps me. And then the multiple choice on Ninja was just amazing. I feel like it explained everything like perfectly well. And then what was the other thing that I was gonna? The Ninja notes, I would read those a lot. Like that's what I would do the day before the exam. I would read through all the Ninja notes, and that seemed to help me a lot. And then also the thing that it has where it goes based on like how well you're doing. So you know how it does like I forgot what it was called, but if you're having more trouble with like contracts or leases or something, it starts only focusing on leases. Like all the stuff that you're getting right, like it'll kind of like take that away and give you the harder thing, so you get to practice that more and more. So I think that was a really helpful thing of Ninja.
How did you take study notes?
The first year when I was just using Becker, I did the lectures, and every single person that had passed it already was like, don't do the lectures, they're kind of a waste of time. Unless it's like a chapter that you're really struggling with, then do the lectures. But I mean, I kind of have to say I agree with that because I took a bunch of notes when I went through the lectures the first time. I took pages and like of 100 notes, and I tried handwriting them, I tried typing them, and I still have them, but I would really never go back to them ever when I was actually studying. So I don't know. I would say definitely take notes because I think it helps with memory, but I don't go back to them and like read them. If there's something really important, like extremely important, like LIFO, FIFO, and stuff like that, that I wanted to really memorize, I would write those on like flashcards and carry those around with me. Not too much, but like when it was something pretty important or just like something like quick that I could write down, I would use it for that, and it would be very helpful because it was just like right there, just a little thing to just like have and just memorize, you know, or just to quickly look at or even. So, but I didn't use it too much.
Which material did you study first for the CPA exam?
So I would take the notes first, like I did all of the notes, and then I went through the multiple choice, and then I just did my routine, and then I would also read the ninja notes, like between all of that. I would take the notes. That was like the first year I did it, basically. Then I would just do multiple choice nonstop, constantly, and then do sims. And then I would read like 2 to 3 pages of the ninja notes, like in between, and then just continue it over and over again.
How did you stay focused and maintain the drive and self-discipline to pass this exam?
I think I just had the ambition to pass. Like I just had that determination, like that want just to pass it, and I saw how hard it was. So I think that that characteristic of mine like definitely helped me. Like the first year, definitely I was in my master's year, and I was interning, so I was around all my college people still, so that was a little bit difficult, so I wasn't really that focused then. But then afterwards, when I got my job, I was like, okay, I have to get this done. I don't want to lose a part. I want this over with, and then once I have it, I never have to study again. So I think just telling myself that and repeating it, and also the feeling of passing, just like kept me going and just kept my focus, and that I wanted it more than anything. Like that was all I wanted, and that was all that was on my mind. So I think that all like did it for me, gave me the strength.
How did you manage the study time?
I'm like a night owl, so I would study after work. I don't like waking up early, so that wasn't a thing for me to like wake up before work to study. So I would go do work, and I worked so like during the off season it'd be like till 6. I would work, and then I would just study the entire night. And then during busy season I would literally work. Like I said, I would do the 60 multiple choice, at least do 60 multiple choice and get them correct, and then I would just study until I went to sleep. So I don't know if I would say that I managed my time amazingly, because I kind of would just study like any single second that I wasn't working. Like and if I wasn't doing multiple choice, I was walking the dogs and had like the audio in my ear, or I was literally doing something at every single second to be studying for it or have the CPA there. Yeah, so actually I passed FAR this past summer, and I do partnerships. Like I mostly focus in partnership tax. So it's due September 15th. So I took it in August, which is it's our biggest busy season. Like we're working till like 2 a.m. every single night. So it was horrible. It was terrible, but I would try to study like a little bit throughout the day, so I would feel a little bit better and like more confident a little bit. And then I would study. If I ended at 2, I would study till 4. If I ended at like 10 p.m., I would study till 2 a.m. And I just made sure that I was doing it. I just made sure that no matter what, I got my studying in for that day. So many people are like, why aren't you taking a break? I'm like, I can't. I want it done. I don't need a break right now. Like, I'll stay up all night if that's what it takes to get it done. So some people even said when they were studying they would be excited for busy season because they would actually they would take their break then of not studying. But I also don't believe in taking breaks. Like, really, when you're trying to study for the CPA, I think like a week, like between getting your score, you should take a break. But I don't believe in taking like months break of not studying. Like that's kind of crazy.
What did you do a day before the exam?
A day before the exam, I would read Ninja Notes, and I would just be calm. Like, I would try as hard as I can not to like panic or anything, because I definitely have like a tiny bit of anxiety. So it took me a while to get to that place where I would just stay calm. I would read through all my Ninja Notes. I would also go through, beforehand, I would do the practice exams on Ninja. So I'd go through those questions again, like just quickly. I would just review them. And then I would just do some multiple choice again, and that's really it. And I would watch a movie like a little bit later in the night just to calm myself, and then have the exam the next day.
What were your top CPA exam study preparation mistakes?
So mistakes, I would say, I think a lot of people spend a lot of time with the lectures, which I think that is a huge mistake that people like learning for themselves. Like, I know I had to learn it from myself. Like I said before, is people were telling me don't do the lectures, but I just felt like I needed to have that 100% like completion on Becker. So I was like, well, I'm gonna do them anyways, and that just wasted a ton of time. So I'd say that was one of my biggest mistakes. Not realizing the time commitment, and like I would be like, I can go out tonight, it'll be fine, but then it wasn't, and at the end of the day I felt upset because I could have just been studying and got it done quicker. So I would say, like, definitely like recommend like not saying no to things. You will get it done way quicker. And then my last thing is don't take too long of breaks, like in between studying, because I know some people will pass an exam and then take like a month break. I think that you have to just go for it constantly. Like I said, just take maybe a week break, because obviously people do need breaks, and like you need a new mindset, you know. So I think to not give yourself too long of a break, because then you're just gonna kind of lose that motivation and that like determination. I think that's one of the reasons people have a hard time passing at first, because you have this idea of how to study, and then all of a sudden it's just not working and you're not passing. So you have to see like different ways of what works for you and what finally gets you there, you know.
What was the most difficult section for you?
I think audit was definitely my most difficult, because like we said before, it's like kind of like the bar exam where you can have two questions and they can seem right, and then you have to pick the best one. So definitely audit, and it took me 5 times. But it was interesting because when I was studying for it, I'd be like, I know this stuff perfectly, it's gonna be fine, and like I actually enjoyed studying for it because it seemed like it made sense. And then every time I would walk into my exam or walk out of it, I'd be like, oh, I passed it, like that was easy, and then I would fail. So I think with that one, it was just continuously taking it over and over again. Like with that one, I didn't really like. Sometimes I switched sections in between sections. That one I just had to take audit until I passed it, you know. So I think that was definitely my hardest. BC, I was probably the most nervous for, because I'm not good at economics. I do not like economics. When I'm like studying for it, it makes sense, but on exams it just doesn't. And I hate writing, so that was also the scariest part for me. Like the second time I took BC, I literally just stayed up all night trying to memorize like the writing section of it and memorize things, which obviously did not work out for me and wouldn't work out for anybody, and I did not sleep. So that was also pretty difficult. Well, with audit, I would just, I think I should have started taking more notes, and really, like, I kind of think I did more flashcards, because you have to know, you have to know the difference between like reconciliations, or not reconciliations, review, and all of that, like that last chapter. I kind of forgot what it was right now, but like a review and all of that, and you have to know the differences exactly, like what they are and everything. So I think definitely for audit I would use flashcards or write down more notes. Then for BC, I focused more on not the writing and how I was going to write it. I focused on the material and understanding completely what the material meant and knowing it, and I think I gave myself a little bit more time than I normally would, because BC is short, so you think a shorter time, like studying period. So I think I definitely gave myself like a little bit extra time to boost it up.
In what order did you take the CPA exam?
Well, when I started passing them, what I did was I took reg first, because that was just easier for me. It was tax, which I do, so it just was easier. It was like relevant to my career, so it just helped me and interested me. Then I did audit, and then FAR, and then BC. I thought audit was gonna be easy for me, so I guess for me, because so I did reg, then audit, because I thought it wasn't math, which I guess I am better in math, because FAR is honestly one of my easiest ones. So audit was my second one, because I didn't want math. I wanted just concepts, and I thought it would be easier. Then FAR, I figured I would just get out of the way, and then BC last, because I didn't want to do the writing, so I just saved it for last.
How long did it take you to finish the CPA exam?
It took me about 3 years, because the first full year I was not passing, so that was really, really hard. Then at that last time I didn't pass reg, I was like, I have to do something else. That's when I got ninja, and I was like, from now on I'm going to pass, like that's gonna be it. And then I got ninja and I started passing it, and that took me about 2 years, because it is hard. Like it is really, really hard to do it while working. So I think that definitely that was like the reason why it took me so long, because during busy season it's really rough. So to find that time and to do it. So many people at my job had just given it up, and I just did not. I was not gonna do that. I was like, it will bother me so much I would feel like a failure almost if I gave up. And it's like a challenge to myself. Even if I'm going to stay in public accounting probably, but even if I didn't, I just wanted it. Like I just wanted that challenge for myself. So yeah. Also, because you have a year and a half to pass once you pass your first one. So because of coronavirus, I got the extension, which I was very lucky to get that extension. Otherwise, I was going to lose reg in September. So I took BC in October, and I passed in November. So luckily, I got that extension.
And what advice would you like to share?
I would say that the biggest thing is just not to give up, because it can be discouraging to see a failing score. Believe me, I've seen plenty. And you have to just get back up and just do it again. And the feeling of passing and being done it takes all that negativity and like that sadness that you felt away. So I would say that just keep on going, no matter how discouraged you feel or you just don't want to do it anymore. Like you just cannot give up, and you can do it. Like that's really what I can say, because a lot of people just think that they aren't smart enough or they don't have the time and they don't have like that ambition to, but you can, and you do have that. So I think people just have to keep reminding themselves that, because a lot of my friends even like were just like, how did you do it? I'm like, because I just wanted it. I wanted it, and I saw it, and I just went for it.